Hi everyone, welcome back. This is our final day of reading Bad Blood together. We are going to get to the end of the short story today, talk about it a little bit more, and then obviously you guys will have some things to work on afterwards. So let's go ahead and get started. We talked last class about Mrs. Anderson's passing away, all the signs leading up to it. Jared finally got the car from Mrs. Anderson. It was officially signed over to him, and after her passing, her attorney of state and even the neighbors supported his receiving the car still even after Mrs. Anderson's death. So that's kind of where we left off. Let's go ahead and get started. I believe we ended up right here. It always happens, the attorney muttered to me. Somebody dies all alone, and then relatives come out of the woodwork. There were objections to the signatures and dates on the Corvette title, but in the end it was no contest. And anyway, the distant relatives ended up with the farm, which they immediately put up for sale. My father was beside himself with pride. "You've got a great future, son," he kept saying as we loaded the Corvette onto the trailer. This was masterful. Couldn't have done better myself. And being there at the funeral, what a great touch. "Thanks," I muttered. He was so happy he didn't hear me. As we drove off out of the driveway, I looked back at the old white house, at the sagging, shabby buildings, at the dead flowers on the porch. Then we headed onto the highway and picked up speed. As we passed the endless rows of corn, for an instant I thought I saw bony, tattered arms reaching out at me, but they were only corn leaves fluttering in the wind. My father began to whistle as he drove. I turned to look at him. My father the crook. My father and great-grandfather, all crooks. At least 3 or 4 generations, the bodybuilder said. I looked behind at the little car on the trailer. "So I found this dealer in Wisconsin who specializes in muscle cars. He'll give top dollar," my father began, but I cut him off. "We'll see," I answered. He looked at me surprised. "Hey, it's my car," I said. "It has my name on the title, if you recall, which means I can do with it what I want." His face turned dark with anger, then a moment later opened in a great laugh. "Okay, I get it. Chip off the old block, yes? Just like your old man?" "Maybe," I said. I looked down the highway ahead of me. Then again, maybe not. And that's the end of it. So obviously this video is going to be a little shorter just because we did not get to the very end of the story last one, so I couldn't fit everything in. But let's go ahead and talk about it, right? So this story ends with a pretty ambiguous ending. And for those of you that don't know what ambiguous means, it just means open-ended. So the author kind of leaves it up to the reader to formulate their own opinions about what they think happens. And for part of your assignment today, you are going to need to think about the ending, right? And I'm going to ask you the question of whether or not you think Jared actually changed, or if you think Jared actually has or had bad blood, right? So just continue to think about that, and then as we get into you answering the question for class today, there'll be more detailed directions listed with that assignment. But yeah, that's the end, right? So from start to finish, we get everything in Jared's point of view. He lies about being in the Boy Scouts to gain Mrs. Anderson's attention so that he can therefore hopefully find anything worthwhile of stealing from her. He ends up doing that. But he also ends up, forming a relationship with this woman. And hopefully, if you agree, it turns into maybe him possibly turning into a better person. But yes, that is the end of the story. I can't really think of anything else to talk about, guys. I think we pretty much covered everything. I'm pretty sure we talked about what a will was, and the attorney of state is just the person that makes sure that everything that is in the will is given to those addressed in it. And then sometimes you're going to get those kind of sleazy relatives that come out of nowhere and try to fight for more than what what they were supposed to be given. And that's unfortunate, but that's life, right? And I think that's about it. I mean, we've got more of his dad shown his true colors, and Jared possibly not being too happy about his reaction to things, and hopefully Jared tries to be better, right? But we don't know the truth about that yet, so that's kind of up to you guys. Okay, I think that is everything. Again, as always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please email me and I will try and respond to you as soon as possible. And make sure you work on the assignments posted in Schoology. Thanks, guys.